Hey Sterling, I bought 6 bottles of ropes and can't wait to try it. Big fan of what you do, bud. Anyway, I wanted to ask you 3 questions. What are your thoughts? The first question, what are your thoughts on the best ways to meet women these days? I also follow Michael Sartain, and what he teaches about social circle makes a lot of sense to me. I'll go through one question at a time. So to answer that question, what are your thoughts on the best ways to meet women these days? Social circle is super like social circle game, the way, especially the way Michael Sartain teaches it, and he's probably the best out there at teaching it, to be honest. Dan Bilzerian is also amazing at this, obviously, and he's fantastic at teaching it too. He's got a great book on it, he's got a great course on it, and obviously so does Michael Sartain. So those would be my 2 go-to guys to learn social circle stuff. It puts you like so far ahead of everybody else, it just beats everybody in terms of attraction, right? So if you're the kind of guy who actually, like, maybe you got a lot of disadvantages, let's just say, maybe you're shorter, maybe you're not the best looking guy, maybe you're not like the wealthiest guy, right? If you have all these different sort of shortcomings in terms of attraction regarding women, social circle is going to basically eclipse all of that stuff, and you won't have to really worry about that anymore. Now, it's a lot harder to do, though. It's super hard to like what Michael and Dan Bilzerian, for example, have done has taken them years and years and years of work to build up that social circle and that reputation in a specific place. So bear that in mind. Now, in terms of the best ways to meet women these days, like, I think we're at a point where the dating apps are kind of dead, actually. I used to be a big fan of dating apps probably the last 4 years. I think they're reaching this point where they're starting to die, depending on which city you're in. In most major cities, they're starting to die. Places like Miami and Dubai, they still pop off. But everywhere else, like, you're not, it's just the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, in terms of dating potential. So I think you're actually probably going to see a lot more luck. If you're not having success on dating apps, you're not finding the kind of women you want to find, go outside, bro. Like, getting out, finding different social circles and meeting, like, social venues and social events and social places where you can go and find and meet like-minded women and actually just talk to them face to face, and being that charming guy who's going to win her over in a face-to-face interaction, you're going to stand out so much more now because everything is switched so much to online. I think the pendulum is swinging back, I think, at least from what I've observed. So you kind of have to answer your question, you're going to have to do a bit of everything, but you're going to have to play around with each of these different things. So let's say like online dating, social circle stuff, and just finding venues and events and things to go out and meet women in person, and then find what sticks best for you, my friend. On to his second question. How do you think about world travel and dating? I think you live in Marbella, so I wanted to ask you what you think of that place for dating and your other favorite places globally. Good question. I've done a lot of traveling, a lot of dating internationally. There's certain places which are really good for guys. Like, Dubai is really, if you're a guy who's well put together, Dubai is actually really good for you. Super easy to get a date there. Super easy to get a date with a pretty woman too. They're all like kind of, it's a buyer's market, so to speak, in Dubai. Marbella is a very seasonal town, so you're only going to see 4 months of the year. I believe it's sort of like May, June, July, August. Those 4 months are the peak when lots of English and Scandinavians come to Marbella to party. So those 4 months are prime time. Great for partying and again, going to clubs and meeting chicks and going around the port and meeting chicks. And the dating apps are obviously popping off during those few 4 months. But the problem, like, it's kind of like bringing sand to the beach in a way. There, you might as well just go out to the clubs and the venues in Marbella for those 4 months rather than being on the dating apps. Because by the time you match with a girl on a dating app in Marbella, she's already at a party and then she's flown home. So it's kind of pointless. The rest of the year, that's a very quiet place. Miami is filled with women, but it's filled with, and beautiful women at that, but it's filled with degeneracy and competition. So that's a weird thing between Miami and Dubai. I've personally seen that Dubai is, you actually kind of, as like a well put, it's maybe it's different flavors for the different women there, I guess. I always found that I had, not that I didn't have success in Miami, but it was easier in Dubai for some reason. So those are 3 pretty key cities that I've spent a lot of time in the dating market and I've kind of observed it. And I've personally come to the conclusion that, well, in the process of moving back to Australia, actually. So I'm trying to figure out the dating scene here in Australia, trying to figure out which cities are the best places to go to. So I'll let you know how that ends up. But what do you think about world travel and dating? It's dating is easy, but having a relationship is difficult. So unless you're the kind of guy who can like fly women to you, and that's not a problem monetarily, it becomes a challenge. It would be a challenge if you didn't have that monetary freedom, that disposable income to allow that to happen. And on to your last question. Any tips for dating young women? I'm 37 and I want to date women under 25, but I find that most young women on dating apps like Tinder are just there for attention or to get guys to sign up on OnlyFans. Is Instagram the best place to meet these girls? Yeah, so I actually think, I think going out to venues is probably going to be a better success rate for you. If you're an older guy like me, we're about the same age. And Tinder is just full of bots and OnlyFans girls now. I've been banned off Tinder for like 3 years, so I don't even have a good touch on the landscape of Tinder right now. Bumble is kind of broken, and Bumble's kind of empty and useless now. Hinge is like the last dating app that kind of still exists, and even then that's kind of running out. And you will find in certain cities, in the right cities, like I said, in places like Miami, places like Dubai, you will find women like under 25 very, very easily. Now, again, those are the only places I've really dated, so it's hard for me to give you an honest opinion on like other places around the world. Actually, London, super, super easy. I've spent a bit of time in and out of London, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Newcastle, Manchester, like England, United Kingdom. Pretty easy actually to find girls under 25 who are into guys like who are in their late 30s. Not hard. So that's definitely, but I would stay off of, I don't do Tinder, so I stay off of Tinder. Hinge, I've seen some success with this. And if you don't make a big deal out of it, neither will they. Like, I've never in my life had a younger girl who, like, match with me and then give me shit about my age. It just doesn't if they're going to match with you, they're not going to have a problem with your age. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you're kind of like cold DMing through Instagram, that might be a bit more of a challenge. Depends how successful you look on your Instagram. Depends how well you sell yourself through your Instagram. And then obviously you have the same thing with face to face. So it depends how well you sell yourself, right? So tips for dating younger women. There's a big generational gap between like Gen Zs and say millennials, which is what you would be. There's actually quite a significant generational gap, and that means in terms of the way they communicate, in terms of their sense of humor, in terms of what they know about the world, what they know about history, for example, their hobbies, the way they interact with phones, like their whole life has been through the phone. So that's something you're going to have to be, if you're going to actually date a woman from Gen Z, you got to be familiar. You got to have to understand that. So that it's not like a deal breaker, but it comes with the territory. So just be aware of what you're kind of signing up for there. Cool.